Matchers, bienvenidos a nuestro canal de YouTube y hoy estoy muy feliz y muy contenta. Yo soy Natalia de Match 99.3 en la Ciudad de México y estoy muy emocionada porque estoy platicando con los artistas a los que yo les tuve un crush cuando era una niña. Ellos son Hanson. Welcome, Isaac, Taylor, and Zach. I don't know if you understood what I say, but I'm telling the guys from Match that you guys were my teenager crush, or maybe when I was a kiddo, because I was 9 years old when I knew your song. So this is like a full circle to me because I've always been a musical girl, and I knew you with Umba.
Right.
So I obviously know your music, but I want you to tell the people who doesn't know you, which are that maybe they can be so young, you know.
Yeah.
Who are you? Who are you?
Who is
Hanson?
Who is Hanson?
Well, we are three brothers from Oklahoma. We've been making music for 30 years. We started when we were little kids, like when I was 6. We make rock and roll music, right? It's like guitars, drums, pianos, big melodies, harmonies. We love singing, we love telling stories.
Yep.
So there's sort of always a story, I think, in our music, and that's part of what makes us who we are. It's not just about love or about parties or about these sort of things. It's kind of about life, right? And as you live and be a band for 30 years, there's a lot of life to talk about.
Hopefully it's uplifting.
And I have a really big question, and I might say that this question might be haunted me like part of everything, all my life, because I knew you when I was 9. Now I'm 34, so it might be like all my life. How did you decide to become a band in such an early age?
Well, I mean,
I think that's the living room.
music.
The living room worked.
Music was all around us. I mean,
Yeah.
when we're very young, everyone, I say most people, respond to music in an emotional way, in a positive way. And we just responded in a one more level. We could harmonize and sing easily. And we saw other examples. We heard early rock and roll, Elvis, the Beach Boys, the Beatles, the Jackson 5, classic soul artists, and those people inspired us. So,
and many of them were just teenagers. So as young kids, we just thought, oh, that's not far from where we are. We should just start doing it.
Yeah,
exactly.
So we were confident.
Piece of cake.
Yeah, we took the chance.
Piece of cake.
Yeah.
And you had the chance to do it because your parents supported you. Your mother has a sense of music. As far as I can remember, but and looking back then, now that you're parents, you have tons of kids. I know that too because I've been following you. And looking back then, okay, now that you have kids, you can relate to that age. And how did you manage to understand everything that was going around you guys? Because you were kids, literally kids.
When I look back now, especially having kids who are the ages that we were when we were first beginning to start singing together, and also when we were first having our success in places like Mexico and Europe and things like that, it is really surprising to me how self-confident I think we were and how much we felt very much like we knew where we wanted to be and where we wanted to go. It's kind of an unusual thing. I don't know why that was the way it was, but that's who we were.
As a father of 5 kids, I don't think it's unique to know who you are, but it's unique to have the gift to be able to talk about it and share it with people, right? To be able to broadcast it. That was kind of, I think, the superpower of 3 brothers together where you could support each other.
Yes. Okay, so the magic behind Hanson as a family to keep on together. You told us about something about integrity.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're mostly, nobody has the perfect answer. But I do think that we've always were focused on having a long story. We didn't get into this just to be famous or to make money. We got into it to be able to make music, to sing, to play shows, and I think that's in the DNA. That's who we are. That's the way we've always done things. And so I think we've had some luck. We've had a lot of blessing that we've gotten to do some things we don't control.
And a healthy dose of challenges along the way too.
But mostly, I do think that we've always wanted the longevity. We've always been more interested in having the life where we got to create things and make things. And so hopefully that's been a part of why we're still here today.
And it's so nice to have musicians and people who make music with this kind of values, I think I gotta say, because you're behind the music and not behind the money. But we all need money to live, work, and eat, and
Of course.
for our families.
Please buy concert
Thank
tickets.
you.
Please buy concert tickets. No, but you're right. I think another thing about us is that we've never been a genre or been a role or a style. Like Hanson is whatever we are right now, right? Whatever we want to sound like right now. Whatever
we started off kind of as a pop band, and now if you look at our category, we're kind of a rock band, and there's so there's any version in between is kind of who we are.
It will continue to evolve because great music, at least what we strive to do, is a reflection, right? A reflection of the life you're living and the place you're living in and the people you're meeting. And so your style and how you sound and what you're talking about needs to be a reflection of where you are.
And I think that an incredible reflection or on where Hanson is red, green, and blue, that I'm gonna have applause for you guys, because I think it's an interesting album. It's something new, refreshing for the industry, that you made up an album with 3 solo projects, I might say, and they sound different, you know, but at the same time, for me, I was listening to the lyrics, and they are still soul and meaningful lyrics, you know. But also, I gotta say that I love Cold as Ice, because I think it's super catchy, super funky, because I love those sounds. But it's super fun too, because you're not afraid to have fun, you know, and to take some risks, you know.
Yeah, I think
so congratulations on that.
Yeah, Cold as Ice is such a great reflection of what this project was all about, because it really was a risk and an adventure. It was the very last song recorded.
Literally on the last night of recording period. It was the very last thing we did.
The song was originally a ballad, and I know
Believe
Isaac
it or not, I can play it for you as a ballad. It sounds very different.
Isaac and David worked on it. They say, what if we did something completely different with this idea? And then it was very much handed to Taylor and I. I remember when David and Isaac came in, they said, okay, play a groove, right? And we just started playing off the floor this groove, and then it built and it built.
Thanks to Jim buying that really beautiful clavinet that creates that, you know, superstition, that Stevie Wonder kind of thing. And Taylor's sitting there doing this, and Zach's doing a killing groove. That song transformed into something really, really fun. And we actually play that pretty much every show, because it's just a really fun feel.
What this album is a reflection of a moment in time, right? Of a year where we said, who am I today? And it happened to sound like these 3 styles. And if we did it again, it would sound totally different. And that's really fun. Hopefully for our fans, they know that they're always going to hear something fresh, that there's always going to be an element of surprise. And what will this be?
Yeah, and it's surprising, because whenever you hear Don't Let Me Down, but you see the music video, you say, you guys had a lot of fun on that video. You know, you never stop to have fun, even though when you have these lyrics, you know, such as no matter the reason, you know, it's such it really got to my heart, because I said, no matter the reason, I have to stick to you because I really love you, you know? So
that's a message that these days, you know, is
you don't hear
is lost.
Yeah,
no,
I mean, I think there's a lot of, oh, I'm done with you. Oh, I'm not attracted to you. Oh, you annoy me, you know.
Or you've changed.
Or you've changed, and I can't be with you.
Deal with that.
And so you know, so much of what we're all trying to do is just go through the journey of life. You know, there's an expression that I love and that we've used a few times. Not the first to use it, but the journey is the destination, right? The where you're going through things, traveling, you know, living. That is actually the goal. It's not just some place off in the distance, but being there. And so I think as artists, you know, you have a chance to give the journey a soundtrack, right? You give people songs. We all share those songs. And you don't want to write only about, like, let's go to the club and let's party. You actually want to write about life.
Yeah.
And sometimes you do go to the club in life.
Exactly.
And so sometimes you write those songs.
Yeah. Sometimes you write songs like Cold as Ice, and sometimes you write songs like No Matter the Reason. Speak to No Matter the Reason also, too. I think, you know, my wife and I were talking about this yesterday, literally. You know, I think it is really important, at least certainly in my life, I have changed a lot in the last 16 years, and my wife has changed a lot in the last 16 years. And we've had to decide over the course of time, over and over and over again, that we choose each other, because we could choose the other way. We could say, oh no, it's too hard. You're too complicated. You annoy me a whole lot. You know, and this is always true because I'm especially annoying.
Is that what she says?
That's all, yes, that's what she says all the time. I keep trying to remind her of all of my good qualities. But there's not very many of them. so I'm kidding, of course. But to be true, it is hard to you have to decide. You have to decide in a relationship that there is value that is bigger than your own ego, that is bigger than your own temporary happiness, that the long-term value is just as important as the short-term problem. So
we've got very serious on this interview.
No, but
no, it's okay.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of interviews that I do because I like to connect with the human being behind the artist, because we all know the artist, you know? We all know you as Hanson, but we barely know you as human beings. So it's been nice to talk to you that way. And I just have one last question. Who came up with this brilliant idea of making up this album, Red, Green, and Blue, as?
Well, I think Isaac, the original idea was Isaac's, and it's been evolving for about, I don't know, 5 years.
Yeah.
And
kind of started off with the idea that I kind of basically had said, it's interesting because when each one of us take the lead on a song, even if we've all been writing it together, the personality of the band changes. And I thought that was really interesting. And then it became this Red, Green, Blue idea.
And it's a great, I think it's an idea that really works at this moment in our career where there is a lot of history together and a lot of trust. And so when, if someone said, you've got to perform the song that Taylor writes, I would not have any question whether it'd be a great song, right? I'd be curious to know what song it ended up being, right?
Yeah.
And that was the experience making the album. I think for all of us was kind of, hey, I'm on for the ride. I don't know what this is going to be, but I know I'm going to enjoy it.
And on a personal level too, I think what was most valuable, you know, you can find yourself in situations when you're creating art and when you're living life, where you get in these patterns and you're used to the pattern. But sometimes it's very important to change the pattern that you're on and to allow yourself to grow and develop new strengths. You can't just only do running. Sometimes you've got to lift weights. You've got to cross train. You've got to cross train. You've got to whatever. You know, do some rock climbing. Go on a go a kayaking. Something. You've got to change this routine so that you don't get stuck. And I think for us, it was really important not only to look at each other and say, "This is yours. Do with it what you want to do. Embrace yourself as the artist. Do not worry about whether I think it's okay or not." So there was number one. And then the other thing I think that was most important about it is to say, now my job is to serve your vision. Because we've done this together where we're like, this is my opinion, this is my idea, listen to me. This time it was, no, I need to listen to you and I need to serve your goal. And these kinds of things, you learn a lot about yourself, you learn a lot about each other, and I think we've all grown in different ways because of that challenge. I think it was really, really good for all of us.
And I think you deserve a big round of applause, guys, because you are a great example to everyone who listens to your music, for musicians and artists and singers, because you're showing to your brothers or to your friends in the band that you have to be humble, you know, because I can grow from you, I can learn from you. So I had this, you know, what do you say in English? Piel de gallina. The chicken.
Thank you for the goosebumps.
Just goosebumps, because just one thing, you're putting aside your ego, because your ego is not your amigo, you know?
Yeah.
Muy bien.
So,
I agree. That is a great phrase, and I'm going to use it.
You're going to use it. Yes, your ego is not your amigo, and you guys are proof of it. So thank you for sharing it.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
So what you were going to say something, Taylor?
Well, no, I was going to just say that at the heart of all those things is really just the idea of not quitting. You know, just deciding to continue to try. You know, it's, you know, I think a lot of people, especially when you're talking about music or big career ideas, they have this picture of, you know, glitz and glamour and you get one shot. Well, actually, you have every day you have a shot. You know, every day you have a chance at, and sometimes that, and it's a lot of those little steps. You know, so
And you won't learn from the success as much as you'll learn from the failure.
Yeah, there's
totally.
There's a line in the record we put out last year. There's a track called "Against the World," which is the name of that project. And there's a line that says, you know, there's equal scars from victory and failure, and it's kind of, that's true, because, you know, if you succeed and you climb a mountain and you get to the top, you probably got some scratches and bruises. You'll probably also have some if you don't make it to the top, but those marks, you know, they're all part of like, hey, this was my experience. This was the journey I went on. I didn't, you know, I was still trying, getting up every day. And I mean, this tour, we're going to be in over, you know, 90 cities all over the world. We're going to be in Mexico, five different cities in Mexico. And it's an amazing thing to get to have that opportunity, you know, after playing music for 30 years.
Well, guys, we're so excited to have you here in Mexico. Isaac, Taylor, and Zach, just let me tell you that I've made one dream come true, talking to you via Zoom, at least. So really, thank you so much for these great conversations. It really was an honor to get to know the human being beside the artist. So thanks for opening your heart. Thanks for your real music. And Match, ellos son Hanson. Hanson, goodbye. Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much.
Nos vemos en México.
Yeah. Ciao.
Bye.